NTV at 1. Now, following that report, we know that the government of Uganda and Tanzania have witnessed the signing of what is called the final investment decision. The two governments, as well as the two oil firms, that is Total E&P and the China National Offshore Oil Corporation, or CNOOC, have signed a deal that will culminate in building of an oil pipeline from Hoima to Tanga in Tanzania to facilitate the extraction and, of course, production of oil here in Uganda. To give us a background and some analysis on what this means for us as a country, we have Dickson Asimwe Kata, a lawyer who has studied the oil industry extensively. Welcome to NTV at 1 this Sunday.
Thank you very much.
We are glad to have you in our studios. This entire signing of the agreement is an exciting moment for Uganda. But for a Ugandan just watching this for the very first time, what does this mean for Uganda?
Thank you very much, Sandra. First and foremost, I think I'm not sure whether someone saying that a final investment decision has been signed would be entirely right, because my understanding of a final investment decision is actually that a final investment decision is actually a decision, an announcement. So there's nothing like you can be able to actually sign a final investment decision. So what is being signed, from my understanding, is that there are agreements which are a precursor to making that announcement. Because a final investment decision basically means that it is at a point in the development phase of a project where the board of the different shareholders and players in the game decide to say we have the cash spend ready and we are ready to commit to spend. So I think what is being done today, what has actually been achieved, is to sign agreements which are a precursor to making that announcement, in my opinion.
Okay, so with the different parties involved, what roles are they playing? Today they decided that we have the money to kickstart this project, like you mentioned, but what are the different parties playing in this whole agreement? CNOOC, we have Uganda, we have Tanzania as well.
Of course, Tanzania facilitates us to have an evacuation point because they gave us Tanga as a port where this pipeline will actually terminate at the end of the day, because basically the final investment decisions at the end of the day, whenever that kind of announcement is ever to be made, they will be made simultaneously, the pipeline and the upstream, because you cannot make an upstream announcement of an FID because you don't have an evacuation. So basically you have Tanzania, who is the shareholder in the special purpose vehicle. So the pipeline is basically a business. So at the end of the day, you have shareholders to this business, and the shareholders is Total, CNOOC, the national oil company which represents the government of Uganda, and TPDC, which is the Tanzania Petroleum Development Corporation. So you have Tanzania Development Corporation having, which is like a UNOC of ours, the Uganda National Company. So you have the Tanzanian arm having about 5%, the Ugandan one committing to 15%, which is 20. You have about 66 for Total, and you have about 8 to 10 for CNOOC. So all these are shareholders to the business. They must answer cash calls. They basically must support this, and that's why you have these agreements like a host government agreement being signed, because it's an implementation agreement which says we support you, we are giving you these tax waivers, we are giving you these offers, and then we are able to write them down in a host government agreement.
So what happens next after today? What happens?
So what I'm sure of is that today, like I have said, this has not been an announcement of the final investment decision. It is a precursor to the announcement of the final investment decision. So you basically have these people being comfortable that they have signed a tariff and transportation agreement, which speaks basically on the shareholders agreement. So these two agreements are actually precursor, and they basically break down, facilitate the previously signed agreements, which is the intergovernmental agreement between Tanzania and Uganda, and the host government agreement. Tanzania signed the host government agreement, Uganda signed one. They're actually going to sign one today because they initialed it previously. So you have a shareholders agreement which provides for how these obligations are going to be partaken. Basically, it's like a business, like any other company in town here. So you have shareholders saying this is how we'll appoint the CEO, this is how we have the finance guy, and all that. So you have these two going to happen, and then the precursor, and at some point, I suppose in about 3 months or so, then you have these guys sitting in the board and saying we have now announced a final investment decision. So basically what will happen now is that after these agreements have been signed, then you proceed and then appoint the EPC companies and all these service provision companies to prepare the process to roll out. That's basically how it is, and basically it is a start in preparation for announcing the FID.
All right, thank you so much, Dickson Asimwe, for joining us on NTV.